All right, let's work a little magic. There we go. Here comes our crew for today. Oh, hat's on crooked, looks terrible. All right, welcome everyone. We've got Josh and Pete McPherson joining us today. We're having some technical difficulties with the internet down in Guatemala, so I will be your emergency backup producer today. My name is Ryan Dancy. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at AEG. And Josh is going to be our MC today. So Josh, I'm going to let you take it away.
Yes, I mean, you introduced yourself and me, but did you introduce the sideways man currently right now, Pete McPherson, designer of Tiny Towns?
That could be a great new nickname, Sideways Pete. Oh, and then we lost him completely.
Oh man, I don't even know what to do now.
Win today, you or me? It's probably going to be you.
Yeah, I just accomplished my feat of winning a game with each monument.
You did.
And, sometimes I'll use a more difficult monument when there's less people in the day. But today I'm actually using a pretty good monument. So hopefully we get Pete back. So
what was the last monument on your list?
It was this for Pete and me. It was the cathedral, the Catarina Cathedral, or Cathedral
really?
Catarina.
That's the monument I randomly chose to play with today.
It is a, it can be very difficult in a lot of ways when you become like at a certain level, because you have to sort of bank that you're not going to do well and everyone else is not going to do well, so you really make up your points in those.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
it doesn't have any upside. It just protects you from downside.
Yes, exactly, and that's the thing. So your upside that you get is the no downside. So then you have to make sure other people didn't get their upside to beat yours. So I don't know. Anyways, welcome to Tiny Towns, everyone. You know what? I think it's time to get started. I mean, shoot, I guess we need to say hello to everyone in the chat.
Oh, yeah,
I want to try it. I want to see if I'm as good as so we have Omar, Thomas, Richie, Emmy, Luke, David, Paul, another David, Amy. I guess that's why he does the last names. Stephen, Ernest, Leslie, Richie, Delbert, Ross, Carly, and you know what? I have the hardest time pronouncing this name. Is that name Andreas? Andreas. Every single time I ever see that name, I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Andreas is how I always think it's pronounced.
I think that's probably close.
Okay.
And everybody in the chat, please rate Josh's reading of everyone's names today out of 10.
That's right. We have two unusual structures today, and I don't have a good way to put those up on screen. Do you guys want to run through the two buildings that we're using that are not in the or in Tiny Town Sports?
Yeah, Pete, do you want to run through those?
Sure. Yeah. So we have the Forge is our black building. I've just got a prototype card here, so I don't have anything to show you today. But well, actually, I guess I can show you I'll show you the layout. If you want to take a picture of my screen now, that's layout. Or instead, you can put the cubes down in that shape on your table to remember how it builds. So when you build a Forge, you place two different resources on it from the supply. And when another player names either resource, you can instead construct a utility in any empty space. And in this game, utility is the fountain. And then the next one is I have Traveler Center on my prototype card. Josh, remind me which one this is in the game. 1 VP per unique building type. You have an even number of. Public house. That's the public house, yes. So in prototype form, it was the Traveler Center. But there is the layout for that one, if you want to grab those resources. And it is worth 1 point per unique building type you have an even number of in your town. And yes, that does count public houses themselves. And are you calling today, Josh? Or would you like me to?
I'm calling today unless you really want to. But
I haven't shuffled, so you probably should.
You know what? I want to say, though, I got a 10, an 8.5, and a 0 from Mark for saying I got missed. But I'm pretty sure you did not you did not type anything out, so I didn't know that you were here on the stream. So I'm gonna put the blame on someone else because you know what? There is a note that Ryan, your volume is super soft compared to ours.
Okay.
I don't know how you want to address that, or if you want to address that, or if you can address that.
I will work on that.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I thought actually it was just Pete's was really loud. I thought that Ryan and I were the same. Because I don't
Blame
know how
me. I get it.
No, I just, yeah, I guess so. I guess I was just blaming you. I just assumed that Ryan knows more about the tech stuff than you. Maybe that's what it is. I have a really interesting setup. I'm really excited. So I just got through all of the all the monuments. So today I'm choosing my monument because and I have this very interesting thing that I want to do where I'm going to build 2 of everything, but 4 farms and only 1. Oh, I mean, sorry, 4 cottages and only 1 farm, and then my monument. I'm pretty excited about it because I like kind of put in my head, I'm going to build 2 forges, and I'm hoping that the last 2 resources called are not the resources that are, it's not one of the resources that are on there. If that all works out, I'm going to perfectly fill my board, and I'm going to have an even number of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different buildings.
It's a good idea.
I feel like on today's game, whoever the caller is going to call brick, 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 brick. I can feel it coming.
Yep,
Well,
brick's going to be scary.
We will see.
John is asking if you need the Fortune expansion to play along. Not today. We're playing base Tiny Towns, but we have a couple of cards from the upcoming Villagers expansion that do not introduce new mechanisms to these cards, so they just play like normal cards with their unique scoring. Ryan has them up on his screen right now if you want to remember how those layouts work. And then Ross posted a really helpful link to the setup photo. So if you click on Ross's link there, it'll just take you to a full page showing all the cards from today's setup. Thanks for doing that, Ross.
And then, did you mention what the forge does?
Yes, I did. I'll reiterate it. When you build a forge, you put any 2 resources on it from the supply, and when either of those resources is called from the deck, you can place a gray building, which is the fountain today. And you place the fountain in place of having to put down either of those resources.
Kevin wants to know, when does Villagers come out? It's like a month from today.
Yeah.
I believe. But
yep.
It's I'm excited for this expansion. I can't wait to get my copy of it. Wood is the first resource of the day. I will say I was like, I think I'm gonna definitely be able to do this whole fill my board up perfectly, but then I didn't realize the sort of lack of red. So I'm just gonna hope I don't call a lot of red today. Oh, wood.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to go cottages and chapels and see how that works out.
I might do something similar. Was that a second wood, Josh?
Nope. Just that's 1 wood. I just was saying wood to myself because I was like, what am I gonna do? Wood. That's what I was doing. The second resource is a stone. And then, of course, it is player's choice. Kevin says, haven't played the Fortunes one yet, but I haven't, and we love Tiny Towns. Yes, check it out. It is awesome. Just adding those new cards. I remember at Gamma, we met this very nice woman who's like, oh, I've played Tiny Towns 50 times. And she's like, I can't wait to play with cards that aren't in that basic setup, like the recommended first time setup. And I'm like, well, why haven't you used them? She's like, well, I'm always teaching new people. And I'm like, Oh, you have a lot to just discover that base game.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah.
Glass is next. It's a public house.
We played with the basic setup for probably a year before we started to add card trading around here, just for that exact same reason, because we were always just teaching people, or we were doing the demo with the tabletopper.
Yeah, it's so interesting to think about that. Huh. All right, next up we have a wheat.
Wheat is okay. I think I'm gonna build no forges today, actually.
Yeah.
Because it is tricky. Yeah, you sort of want like 1 or 2, and 2 is really good. Then you've got 4 different resources, assuming you put 4 different ones on there. Where you have a decision and instead place a fountain, but yeah, it's tricky with the public house.
Yep, I think it is true. Kevin says that he also has the cards in the AG store. Yeah, we have 2 cards on the AG store. It's a monument, which is a lot of fun to play with, and then the Friendly Local Game Store, which I really like that card. I we don't put that in enough setups, actually. I don't know.
Yeah,
why
we should throw it in there more often.
Yeah, and then Player's Choice. Oh.
Player's Choice.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I'm playing with the Prism Forge today, which is the one base game monument. It's from Fortune, but it's base game compatible, that I have not won with yet.
That is
last one.
Yes, that is his last one.
Okay.
Okay.
It feels like, how some players have a 10 by 10 grid, 10 games they want to play 10 times. Like, we should come up with a monument win tracking board. If you want to play along at home.
I like to write down high scores in the boxes of my games. Any game where, high score is possible, which is most of them. So in my game group, it's like a big honor to get to write your name in the box.
Nice. That's really
so whenever
cool.
someone has a really good game, they're like, do I get to put my name in the box? I'm like, oh, let me check. And it's always fun when they do.
Oh,
it's the highest score. So if you get if you have the highest score of all time.
Yep, high score of all time is the only way you get to put your name in the box.
We should just, on the inside of the lid, we should have a high score thing, Josh.
Yeah.
Cool. Could you print on the inside of the lid?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, just cost.
But to be honest, I have never once thought about that whenever I've developed a game. I have never thought, what is that going to cost my company to do?
Yeah, I know.
Was that a glass, Josh?
That was a glass.
All right. There is my Prism Forge.
It was funny. I just finished up a game, and I called Dave today to kind of tell him. I was like, hey, I added some costs to the game, and he's like, yeah, okay. How much? And I told him what. He's like, okay, that's the X number of whatever, and I said, oh, but I reduced the cost here, and here, and here, and he's like, I think it might cost cheaper than what we thought. That's a first.
Right. Knock me over with a feather.
Stone. Yes, I do like those premium pieces and games, and
yep.
I mean,
I love the fact that you guys come in and try to make the best product that you can. I am all in favor of that, and I think we always end up with a better product than if we tried to come up with the cheapest way to make a game.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that people like about board games is the idea of tactical features, and if you can make those better, that's what people like, and people are willing to pay more for them. Although we often don't actually raise the price, we just put nicer pieces and make less money. But player's choice.
Player's choice. I feel like my player's choice today is just going to be glass.
I'm doing lots of wood and stone, actually.
Oh, interesting.
I'm doing a lot of wood because I want to make my theaters, my farm, public house. Yeah, I'm doing a lot of wood today.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I'm going to place that wood right now. I think I've done wood all 3 times.
I think for me, the one thing that's more important than tactility in a game is just the visual presentation. Like when a game is about, I don't know, building an empire or something, but it's only represented in like cards and there's no spatial representation of the empire,
Right.
it doesn't work for my brain. I need there to be like some like focus or something.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think it all goes into like haptics, tactile, like the visual touch, right? Like, I think all that stuff is very important in games. In fact, I think it goes a lot farther than a lot of other things that people probably think. But yeah, even people are like, I don't know if I care about having nice pieces or like nice visuals or whatever. Like, it's all really important. Brick is next. Brick.
Dreaded Brick. Yeah, I mean, like one game that I think is an awesome game on its own, but is made so much better by the whole experience of it is Mysterium. Having the giant screen that the ghost sits behind. It's a mystery game with one player plays as a ghost, if anyone's unfamiliar. Like even like all the gorgeous artwork aside, just the way that game is set up feels so fun and all.
I mean, have you ever played the Polish version?
I've seen the artwork for it because it's different art, right?
Yeah, so the artwork, not in the Dream Deck, only on like the characters and whatever, but it doesn't have that big screen or like the little crows or things like that, because that was the first version. It was a Polish game that was brought over by Asmodee. I think it was Libelud, or Libelud. Is that how you pronounce their company? One of the Asmodee companies. They're I think the ones who brought it over. Well, maybe I'm just thinking that because of Dixon. I don't know. Someone in the chat probably knows. And so they brought that over, and then they changed the art with Xavier Cotel, who's famous for doing like the Abyss covers. And I think that some people thought all that stuff was like more gaudy, but I think it was a lot better. That player screen is actually really high. It's hard to like see around. I think that was a really good production. I think the Polish production was also really good. Wood.
It is good. And Ross has a question for you, Josh. Does that mean we can have deluxe fur-covered cat meeples in the next Cat Lady expansion?
You know what's interesting?
You actual tins of tuna, chicken, and little packages of milk.
I always think, what is the new thing, right? Like someone had to say, oh, I want to do like shaped wooden pieces. And then someone had to think, oh, it'd be great is if we could screen print on them. Yeah. And then like, I think Stegmaier kind of started something when he was like, you know what? What if the rule book has like an interesting texture, like with
right. Linen finish.
And I just like wonder like what is the next like thing that people are going to start doing? For covered meeples might be it. Who knows? All right, we got a player's choice.
Like textured player boards. Textured boards. Like in an upcoming Ecos expansion, we have a pretty cool mountain that we made, Mount Kilimanjaro. That's cool.
Yeah. I hope people like that.
I do too. Is that in the expansion? Is that a micro expansion?
That is an expansion.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a fun kind of thing to design, because even the mountains in Ecos, they're like double thick, and that was like an idea. I don't think I've seen that done, and that was just like an idea that I just had. I was like, can we just do this? And I asked Dave about it, and he was like, yeah, probably so. They can just glue things together.
Yeah, and they have the little platform so you can put a tree on them if that's appropriate, which I thought was really nice.
Yeah, exactly. That was
not a random mountain. That's a design mountain.
Yeah, exactly. And then so for the expansion, it's going to be like 3 layers. And it's it was an interesting thing to sort of think about. Wood is next.
Oh boy, that's a lot of wood. That's 5 wood on my board because I've chosen it almost every time for player's choice.
Well, I didn't tell you to do that.
It's true.
Well,
You can't blame me on that one.
Huge fan of that wood.
Oh yeah, John brings up the item meeples, and it's like neat, but it's fiddly. Yeah, that's the thing I always wonder about, right? Like with what's that big Kickstarter game, Anachrony? You have those like mechs, but then you put people inside of them. Like that's cool and interesting, but it's also a little bit fiddly to like take the little token and like wedge it into like your big like 3D like piece, and then like you have to move that around.
Well, didn't Tiny Epic Mechs do that too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's but this is before Tiny Epic Mechs. Oh yeah.
Okay.
And then Tiny Fantasy Adventure had the meeples where you could attach swords and shields and stuff to them.
Yeah.
I think that's what he's talking about, the item meeples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Glass is next.
That's perfect.
Good glass.
Just perfect. That's going to be a double build for me because of Prism Forge. Don't get a coin though, unfortunately.
No coins today.
What I would give for a coin. Yeah, that's the thing with Prism Forge. It's I haven't played with it a ton in Fortune, and it is plenty challenging in regular Tiny Towns.
Player's choice and the deck. I'm going to mention that I just went through the whole deck, only called one brick. I feel like that's a win.
Wow.
That was a win. Hard to argue. Maybe that was a jinx. I don't know. Josh, did you guys talk about our little special project yesterday? The thing that you and I tested the other day?
Yeah, I had brought it up yesterday. I'm going to talk about it again.
Okay.
So it looks like next Thursday, so a week from today, we are going to do our first live game of Cat Lady with everyone.
Ooh.
Test out the system, and I think that is all going to be good to go, and I am excited about it.
Cool.
Yeah, that's something we've been talking about for a long time. Box of Treats, the Cat Lady expansion, has a cat AI, so you can play solo play. And we think it will work really well to have the cat play the world.
Yeah, I mean, that's also how I just made the Santa Monica one. Like, I just was like, okay, just use my solo rules, because my solo rules are always against a robot player, because I don't do enough solo gaming, maybe. But for someone who who wants to design solo rules for games, but like, I just always try to make some kind of like logical robot to go up against, and
yeah, that's a good design practice. You know, in computer programming over the last, 15 or 20 years, this thing called a unit test has become very, very popular. A unit test is basically a pre-scripted routine that you run against a library of functions that you built to test all the functions and validate that they work in the way you expect them to, and that they fail in the way you expect them to fail. So there's a certain design value in making an AI you can play against and play test. It's just a part of the development of the game. You probably will discover things you didn't expect just trying to build the AI.
yeah, it was interesting, like, to figure out. You know, I had already had over 100 games of Cat Lady, and when I was developing that, but it was interesting because I think if I didn't, like, I wouldn't be able to make that AI, because I kind of know the things that the cat's going to need to take the most and whatnot. And I think actually, if you play against the AI in the solo mode, you will get better if you kind of like study that deck. Wheat is the first call of the second go through.
Right on.
Wheat is good. Farm number 1 of 2.
Bingo.
Hopefully.
You and I are on the same wavelength today.
Yep.
That's a good feeling. I like feeling validated. When I know I'm doing what Pete's doing, I feel like I'm in good shape.
I think Josh is a pretty. I think Josh is a pretty solid strategy today, though. I'm nervous. We'll see if we get him.
Yeah.
We'll just combine our scores.
Well, I mean, if it looks like I'm going to beat you, Pete, I'll accidentally knock my board over, so you can clear that monument off your list of things you haven't won with.
Appreciate it.
I got the Prism Forge off. I think when on like a day I was talking about this right at the start of the stream where I think it was one of those days where like I only had like like I had like Goody and Ryan or something, right? So like
What was the last call there, Josh?
it was a stone. So I had a little bit of a leg up on that. So all right, it's player's choice now.
Okay.
John says, I'd rather have something basic like beat your own score than an AI with glitches and faults. Yeah, I mean, look, what's good is that the AIs, they typically will always score within a certain point range.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting because it's kind of like, instead of just saying like, oh, like with Santa Monica, I think that the AI will typically score about 60 points. So instead of saying like, oh, you have to beat 60, you just have to beat 55 to 65, and sometimes it's going to be a coin flipper. So like if you're really good at skiing 62, you're going to win some games and sometimes you won't. But like I try to make sure that they're within like a nice little small spread of points. So it's a little bit of a coin flip if you're right in that area.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand. I mean, one of the hardest things about solo is that everyone really likes it in different ways. Wheat is next. Wheat. Huh. I didn't want that wheat.
The wheat was okay for me. Building another farm.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be okay with that, but next up we have a brick.
All right, that's good.
That's something.
That's a brick. What are you building? What planet are you going to?
All right, and that's a player's choice.
Okay.
I'm gonna do a wood because I think I wouldn't be sad if I hit another wood. Whenever I do my player's choice, often I think, what will I not be sad if I get another one of these?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think it's a good question.
David asked what happened to the overlay we used to have. Yeah, it's because Vlad's not here running tech today.
Vlad is our professional producer, and Vlad has all the tools to make it look nice. I'm the emergency backup producer, and I just have Zoom.
Zoom.
I could do all that really fun stuff on my end, but I couldn't bring Josh and Pete in, unfortunately. I have all the technology to make it look awesome, but I can only make it look awesome for me. So that's not a good solution today.
People said that they're worried that they're missing something. So wheat stone, dealer's choice. Wheat brick, dealer's choice. Glass. Let's double glass.
Well, that's why I chose glass, because I could handle it, but that stings a bit.
You know what's interesting? Not yesterday. I guess it was Tuesday. You weren't here on Tuesday, right, Pete?
Right. Yep.
On Tuesday's stream, I had no repeating resources.
Whoa!
The entire day.
Wow.
Was it actually good calling though, or was it still?
No, I think it was really good. It was like very even. It was really good.
Right.
Like, that is a player's choice. Yeah, right. The thing that was interesting about it was Goody was going for just building. He had the mausoleum, and so what he wanted to do was just build wells and cottages and nothing else. So you kind of wanted to even spread the resources. And he built a warehouse, and he put nothing in it the whole game.
Huh.
He built it first. It was just like, I never needed it.
Wow, that's funny.
Yeah, I've never seen that happen before. I've never seen it happen.
Interesting.
All right, next up we have a brick.
Yeah, you got to be careful about John Goodenough. He's very good. And he smiles and he's quiet. He doesn't say much, and then he shanks you with a huge score.
Yeah, Goody is funny like that. Goody is one of the most like, yeah, he always just seems very innocent and very,
Yeah.
like you never like. I would love to play some kind of like a trader game with him because I just have a feeling he would get me every single time. He would just be like,
yeah, he would be amazing.
everything's fine, and then all of a sudden it's not. And
Speaking of traders, Josh and I are going to play some Among Us tonight.
Oh, really?
Oh
Yes.
man, this game is so good. Yeah.
Players
Have you played it yet, Ryan?
No, but I know all about it because my Reddit feed is filled with memes.
It's so good. It's just, I mean, I've played a lot of social deduction games. I love games with the trader mechanic. And I've only played this one twice, but it was like 2 different 2-hour sessions. And I think this might be the best one ever, possibly. 2 Rooms and a Boom is up there. I really enjoy 2 Rooms and a Boom.
Are you playing with 100 people?
What's that?
Do you play with 100 people? Is that how it works?
In Among Us?
Yeah.
No, it's only 10 max.
Oh, it's only 10 max. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not quite battle royale format, and it's great with a group of friends. Yeah.
Oh, I misunderstood. At some point, I thought you played with up to 100 people, and I was just trying to imagine how long it would take to make that.
Oh, that would be wild. No, it's really tight, small group.
Well, I'll be super curious to hear what you guys say about it because I am interested enough. I will probably end up playing it. Delaney and I like this game, so we'll probably figure out how to do it.
It's great. Well, I think. Well, Josh, you want to call a resource quick before I ramble on about this game?
Wood
is okay.
You want to call something like that?
I think what I
you want to call something different.
Yeah.
What I like about it so much as a trader mechanism game is you don't have to necessarily lie when you're the trader. You can just go around killing other players and sabotaging the ship. And then if you get accused, you just say, yep, you got me. And that's it. Whereas in something like Resistance or, Werewolf, you feel the need to like keep up the lie when you're accused, So you don't have to play dishonest. You can just play like cunning and sneaky, which is still a form of dishonesty. You just don't have to like explicitly lie and make up stories and point fingers. So I like that. It feels like the pressure's off a bit. But that feeling when you have just committed a murder and you are running to get as far from the scene of the crime as possible, it's hard to match. I mean, this game is so cutesy. It's got like such a goofy little art style, but like my heart is pounding as I'm running to the other side of the ship to get away from the scene of the crime.
That's
Great.
awesome.
You know what?
Yep.
I made a mistake. I only called 1 resource before the last dealer's choice. So there's going to be 2 more resources than a dealer's choice.
Okay.
I just realized I made that mistake.
Okay. We'll live, maybe.
Wheat is that call.
Wheat is good.
That's wheat.
That is a wheat.
I hear you.
Yeah, I game regularly with a group that includes BJ Shea, who is the morning host on our popular local rock radio station here in Seattle, KISW. And we all went to PAX Unplugged last year, and BJ and his crew had such a loud and argumentative game of Resistance in the hotel lobby that the police got called.
Wow, that's awesome.
They are like pro level Resistance players.
That is a glass.
Good
Now,
draw,
do you play mostly Avalon or the original Resistance?
I will be honest that I have never played that game because I am not a big fan of those social deduction games in general. I'm not sure what they play. At this point, for all I know, they just write the stuff down on 3x5 cards because they have everything memorized. So I don't.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
I don't know.
Yeah, I played Resistance for years with a playing card deck because the rules were posted online before it was published. It was here's how you play with a deck of cards. That's what we did for years, hundreds and hundreds of games.
Yeah.
Yep.
I find those games to be much more interesting in theory than they are when I actually play them.
Player's choice.
Mostly because everybody in my social circle always assumes that I am the worst possible person.
Yeah, that can be tiring. That can get tiring quick.
30 games of Secret Hitler, and everybody I play with was convinced I'm Hitler in every game. So I don't know what that is. What that says about me.
Yeah.
I'm having one of those moments where I'm just looking down at my board and I know what I was planning to do, but I don't know why I thought it was a good idea. So here I am.
I realized I made like a big, huge mistake, and I'm wondering if I can kind of course correct just how I built things early. And I don't know. It's a bit of a mess, but
I'm just gonna have a nightmare shaped board for a bit here. Oh
I
man,
have confidence. You guys can dig yourselves out.
we'll see.
I believe in you.
All right, suspense is killing me, Josh. What do we got?
that was a player's choice at the end of the round.
Oh, that is
don't think it helps.
wonderful.
Yeah. Pete and I are sitting here waiting on pins and needles.
Yeah.
I believe I said it was a player's choice, and then ends the round.
All right. So far, so good, Josh. So far, so good. I got 4 cottages built. I got 2 chapels built. I got 2 farms built. I'm in good shape.
I just have my 3rd double build with Prism Forge, so I'm nearly done. I don't have a lot of space left. But things aren't going so great.
We were asked, oh wow, Ross says, meanwhile, I've just built fountain number 7. It's a lot of fountains. David says, do you have favorite music to play when you play Tiny Towns? I don't game with music. And most of my plays at Tiny Towns, I'm either just playing with Pete and we have to kind of focus on designing stuff. Or we're playing with you and I have to focus on designing stuff.
Yeah. Plus, if we had music going on in the background of these shows, we'd actually get muted. The platforms will mute us to avoid a copyright claim.
Wow, that's
But
wild.
if
It
it's
just detects it
royalty-free-
automatically.
Yeah, if it detects it.
Even if it's royalty-free music?
Well, yeah, we had there. Right, there's some music we can safely play, but we have to make sure that's the music that's played. We can't just let somebody turn the radio on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. Do we need to talk about anything like Thunderstone or something like that?
Yeah, we should totally talk about Thunderstone. Do you want to draw a color and then we can talk about Thunderstone?
Yeah, sure. It's a brick.
All right.
Yeah.
Color. Yeah. So we have the next Thunderstone Quest Kickstarter running right now. Thunderstone Quest: Enemies Among Us. It's 2 new quests, Quest 10 and 11. One features a cool, dark demiplane ruled by a vampire who is sucking the life force out of the living, including some of the heroes that you may be familiar with. And the other one is the conclusion of the Miracell story arc. The Miracell is a powerful character who has evolved over time in Thunderstone Quest, and she is going to make one final attempt to take over Thunderstone Keep in the quest number 11. And Enemies Among Us also features another super deluxe box, which I can give you an example of. This is, if I don't hurt myself getting this off my shelf, this is the Champion Reward, which you can also buy in this Kickstarter. This enormous box holds a ton of cards, and it is there is a box like that in this Kickstarter because we have made so much product for this game that we need to provide that level of support for players who want it. So go to alderac.com/Thunderstone and you will find links to the Kickstarter.
Yeah. Paul says, I've created my own Tiny Town soundtrack on Spotify. That'd be interesting. I wonder what's on it. And he says,
That's cool.
I don't really like music when playing. Dave Bauer says the band The Warning goes well with solo games. I don't know the band The Warning. And then John says, what's funny is I like music for games I'm not concentrating on, but these abstract games, Tiny Towns and Sagrada, take up all my mental bandwidth.
I agree.
That is a fair point. All right, that is a brick.
Oh boy, should have built one of those forges. And yes, it is
If it
way
wasn't
too late.
brick, what would it be?
I went brick.
Brick.
Yep. The good thing is this can't be a brick. It's a player's choice.
It's good.
I'm going to keep the dream alive and see where I go here.
All right. Very unlikely we're going to have the 3rd brick right now. So, stone. See,
Oh, that is
Very unlikely. Good draw.
Nothing.
awful.
Nothing.
That is-
Oh, this is player's choice?
Yeah, it was player's choice, and then now it's stone.
Stone and brick. I think I got bailed out. Good work, Josh.
I'm in trouble. I did it to myself, but I'm in huge trouble. Although those 2 bricks did not help anything.
Good work, Josh. Good
Next
draw.
is the stone. Wow, I did brick, dealer's choice, and now stone.
Yep.
And then we'll roll right into the dealer's choice. I'm glad that I have the dealer's choice because otherwise I would have been out on that call. But as it stands,
The only way this doesn't go poorly is if I get super lucky. So I'm going to plan as if I'm going to get super lucky.
All right.
I think that is a fair thing to try to do. Plan to get super lucky.
That's
I
a
think it's kind
reasonable-
of a weakness of mine in games. Once I feel like I'm probably losing, I always pull a Hail Mary.
No,
And it works.
do you want to
1/20th of the time.
you want to know something, Pete? That is actually a smart move. I believe that if you are behind in a game, or you think that you are not a favorite to win, you should always play the more gambly strategy. It's 100% what you're supposed to do. It is that's pure wonderful logic. Jonathan,
I believe that for years. I believe that like from a mathematical standpoint for years. But now I think I'm starting to switch. I think it is often better in that situation to just play it really steady, especially in like a push your luck game or something. It depends on the type of game for sure. But speaking of years of experience of trying the strategy and having it work, I don't know, a small handful of times, I'm going back to being more cautious. But in general, whenever I don't know what to do in a game, I try to do the thing that's more memorable. Like what will make for a better story and a better
Right.
experience if it works out. So that's my
I
main
think
philosophy.
I think that is a fair thing to say.
Yeah.
People say always go fast and win or lose big. Yeah. John says, do we have the cavern in this game? If you want. If you want.
Yeah.
You're always allowed to play with cavern if you want.
Mhm.
Wood is the next resource.
Oh man, that's part 1 of my plan working out.
That's what I just chose for my player's choice. And
I actually have to get phenomenally lucky. That was part 1. I have to get incredibly lucky here for this to not be very bad.
I think I can be okay if the next couple of things come up okay. Wood again.
That's it. That was the thing. That was the thing that I needed to happen. It has happened. I'm saved.
See?
Oh.
So what did we learn? Josh was right 4 seconds ago when he said that that's what you need to do.
Josh was right. That's what we learned.
Whew, that was exciting. I was looking at a pretty dismal score.
All right, we have a player's choice, and that's going to be a stone for me. Oops. Just knocked the stone off my foundry. My board is not going as well as I had hoped it would. I think it was a little crazy for me to just assume I was going to be able to, build 2 of each building.
Josh, that was a 12-point gain for me. The back-to-back
Wow.
stone. If it had not been back-to-back stone, no, I'm sorry, a 13-point gain.
Oh.
That was wild.
Glad I could help. All right, next up we have stone.
That is not good.
I
I
need.
know.
That is very bad. Oh well.
Wait. Because you don't want to. Because you're hoping to build a cottage. You want
Hoping to build a cottage would have been another building type I have an even number of, and it would have been a point for my one lonely chapel. Things really did not go as planned today. I bit off more than I could chew. I tried to just basically do everything. I was going to have 2 theaters, 2 traveler centers, 2 chapels, 2 farms, a bunch of cottages. That's okay.
All right,
I was going
as,
so well, so
as we're
that-
winding down, I do want to.
Wood.
You want another wood?
No, I said I was doing very well until you just wooded it up there at the end.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's okay.
As we're winding down the game, I want to give people a hypothetical question today. So after this glass, that's exactly what I needed. Yes.
Must be nice. I'm out.
After that glass, it was almost good. You almost got that cottage. I just called 1 resource wrong. If that stone was a wheat, you'd be thinking.
True. That's true.
I want to propose this hypothetical question. You've won a prize. The prize has two options, and you can choose either, but not both. The first option is a year in Europe with a monthly stipend of $2,000. The second option is 10 minutes on the moon. Which option do you select?
What was the first scenario?
So you get a year in Europe with a $2,000 a month stipend,
Okay. Or
or 10 seconds on the moon.
10, like 10 healthy seconds, like 10 Apollo seconds.
10 Apollo. Yeah, you can breathe and do all those.
I take that every day and twice on Sunday. Where do I go? Sign me up.
It's tough. I think I'd choose the moon by a little bit.
I would choose Europe, I think.
It's really tough.
I mean, look, the cool thing about the moon is that you could do something. Oh, it's player's choice, by the way. The cool thing about the moon is obviously you get to do something that like no one else gets to do.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it's, you know, there is something to be said about wow, what
I
am
mean,
Europe.
I can go to Europe. I can't go to the moon.
yeah, I understand. I understand. I'm interested. A lot of people are saying Europe, I think, is slightly winning, but there are some moon lovers. I think moon is cool and it's a once in a lifetime experience, but also, what would you do on the moon for the 10 minutes? I mean, it'd be cool. You'd walk around, you get to do something like that, but
Oh, did you
I-
say 10 minutes? You said 10 minutes on the moon?
10 minutes, yeah.
I thought it was 10 seconds and I still chose moon.
Wow. I think I
10
did
minutes,
too.
yeah. 10 minutes. 10 minutes on the moon.
Then definitely moon.
Wow, okay. I'm not
I
saying
think
it's wrong.
it would be a life-changing experience, unlike going to Europe.
I actually think spending a year in Europe, just getting to go to all the different countries, seeing the history and the age, all the restaurants you get to eat at. Yeah, I think Europe is also a life-changing experience.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but
again,
think about what a person has to do normally to spend 10 minutes on the moon.
yeah,
Your entire young adult life would be spent preparing for getting the education needed,
yeah.
and then getting into a space program, and then getting to be a person on a mission, and then getting to be the person from the crew who gets to walk on the surface of the moon.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to call that wheat and say that, you know, I don't think you're wrong, but I'm also going to say you might not be right.
Sure.
Where was that wheat
No,
5
I
minutes
mean-
ago?
I mean, look,
All right, so we totally forgot to announce the regular daily drawing where we select a winner from our stream who likes and shares, but we have picked one. Today's winner is Krista Jones, who is going to get a copy of Scorpius Freighter.
Awesome. Congrats.
Even when we're not doing our jobs, Vlad and his team are still doing theirs.
Ross says, I can confirm that eating traditional UK food is a life-changing experience, just not in a good way. Yes, I've heard UK is not the best culturally for food, although there's good Indian food there.
I enjoyed my time in the United Kingdom. It's a cool place to visit.
Glass. I say glass, and that works out kind of perfectly because
I would say to anybody who's listening who is not somebody who's done any traveling, if you have the chance to go to Europe for an extended period of time, I highly encourage you to do it. It's a broadening, educational, and wonderful experience. So totally do it. But if anybody ever offers you 10 minutes on the moon, take the moon.
I've only been to Europe twice. I spent about a week in Italy, and I spent 10 days in Italy. And then I spent 10 days in Amsterdam and Belgium. I've been trying to convince this company I work for to take me to Germany one of these years, but
Right. I don't know why that hasn't happened, actually.
that has not happened yet. And I
Maybe
keep
someday.
hoping that will happen.
If that ever happens again.
Let's hope that's not the case.
Or they
all right.
let Americans in.
They're not letting Americans in, is what you're saying?
Well, right
Yeah.
now, I don't believe you're allowed to
I
travel
don't
to
think
Europe.
so either.
Yeah.
That is a player's choice, and I'm doing something really crazy. I think. Oh man, Yeah, this is gonna be rough. I think I'm gonna have to try it though. Otherwise, I think I'm a little behind because I think Pete ended up pulling off a good score.
I'm glad you
Well, he
think
had
that.
a 13-point swing.
What?
He had a 13-point swing.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
the
exactly.
bar was really low. It was a really low baseline. I've only seen one score in the chat that was lower than mine. I think that sounds really mean when I say it. I don't mean to put anyone down, but my score is not too great today.
All right.
But I'm happy with my town.
All right. That is a wheat, and that might do me in. What do I do in this scenario? Wow, that wheat is punishing. Okay, I'm going to place that wheat and be upset. I guess it could be okay. It could be okay. Just I need a wood to stay in. Oh, and I got the wood. I built a second farm, even though I only have one cottage in my entire town. It gives me the double, and I needed to get rid of a bunch of wheat that was just piling up in my town. There's so much wheat today. So much wheat.
Yeah, I miscounted. I did okay. I'm content with my score, but I don't think I beat Josh. I don't think I beat Ryan either.
All right, player's choice.
I think you beat me.
Player's choice. I am going to choose. Oh, I'm going to choose a glass. And then for the first time, I'm going to have to hope that I hit a brick off the top of the deck. And there's a brick. That worked out well. I would have been okay if it was a couple other things, but the brick gives me a second cottage. And now I have a weird thing where do I just hope I get nothing for the rest of the game, but make fountains? I think so. I think that's my best points out of this. So with the forge, win another player, so I can't use those resources from I can't choose to build a mountain resource. Okay, that's gonna be a little tough with the dealer's choice coming up, but let's see if I can do it. All right, that is a glass. Ooh, I can't do it at all because glass is not a, it's the only resource I didn't put on my forge. So I'm gonna have to resign myself to having to try to get a fountain the old-fashioned way. Oh, I guess I don't have to. I guess I could. So it's dealer's choice. So I'm going to put down a. We had a wood already come up, so I'm going to put a wood and then hope a stone comes up. So that's a player's choice. And then next up we have a wheat, which is not the stone I need to build a fountain naturally, but I can just place a fountain onto my board with one of my forges. That ends my game. I have 2 empty spaces. I was not able to build 2 of everything. I didn't build 2 chapels, but I built 2 of everything else. That's the only thing. But that's fine because my chapel ended up only being worth 2 points. I was going to build 4 cottages, and then only 1 farm. So I got close to my goal, but not quite there.
Well, I have 23 points today.
And then a player's choice. I'm going to end it there unless there's someone else who's still kind of going.
I don't think so.
Okay. So what was yours? 26?
23.
23.
I have 18.
18. Okay. So I have, how many building types do I have that?
I just want to let you know, Josh, I was poised for greatness in this game. I was ready to build 2 more cottages and make my 3 chapels go to work. And then you wooded me twice in a row, and that was the end of that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It was my first double resource of the game to be fair.
I'll forgive you.
Okay, good. All right, so my first theater is worth 1, 2, 3, 4. It's pretty embarrassing when my theater has 2 farms and it's rows and columns. That's like the one you can bank on and be like, sweet. I know I won't get a duplicate farm to not count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 was my other one. My chapel's only 2. My fountains are 4. And the foundries are nothing. So I have 2 empty spaces. So I have 18, 22, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31 plus my monument, which is super cheater with my strategy. Because
Is it Bear Castle?
It's archive.
Oh, nice.
No, I told you my chapel's only worth 2 points.
Okay.
So 38 is my final score.
Wow. Nicely done.
It was okay. The thing didn't work out as well as I wanted to, but it worked out pretty well. It was nice. I like this is one of my favorite setups we've had in a while, because the chapel cottage is always interesting to go for, but when you have theater and public house, you're like, well, I'm going to want to build a variety of buildings, but like 2 of each of them, and then theater, that's really good. But then it's like, well, if I need to then build a chapel, how many chapels do I build? And then if you want to go chapel strategy, do you need to build 2 farms? Or are you going to try to go for 6 cottages? You know?
Yeah, it's tricky. The public house really makes everything more interesting, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then the forge was interesting because you kind of go, well, I am going to be able to plop down an extra fountain anytime I want, maybe, but then am I going to need to build 2 of them? That's 2 buildings that don't score points. That was good setup. Good job, Peter.
Thank you.
I liked it. All right, everyone. Well, that was the day. I don't think there's anything I missed other than some great scores that people got. And people congratulating our winner for today. So I think that we are okay to end the day.
Right on time.
Everyone, tomorrow we are not doing Space Base. Tomorrow we are showing off Calico. So join us for that. And then, of course, next week, Monday and Tuesday will be Tiny Towns, Santa Monica on Wednesday, Cat Lady on Thursday, and then Space Base on Friday. Until then, take care, stay safe, and wear those masks. Let's get through this.
Absolutely. Goodbye, everybody.
See you, everyone.
All right. Good job, guys.